Good morning. Welcome to Reading the Science of Mind in 1 Year. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister, excuse me, and Spiritual Leader of the Center for Spiritual Living Common Ground in Central Maryland. Today is June 24th. Good morning, Reverend Jenna. So let's get started listening to our reading for the day, and then we will go from there. Here we go. Reading for June 24th, Science of Mind, A Philosophy, a Faith, a Way of Life by Ernest Holmes. Reading from page 281, paragraph 3, through page 283, paragraph 1, using inclusive language. Why is it that Jesus could say to the paralyzed person, "Take up thy bed and walk"? Because Jesus knew when he said this that the person would get up and walk. He not only believed that there was something to respond to him, but he had an equivalent of its response. This is just as necessary. The law is infinite and perfect, but in order to make a demonstration, we must have a mental equivalent of the thing we desire. A demonstration, like anything else in the objective life, is born out of a mental concept. The mind is the fashioning factory, and according to its range, vision, and positiveness will be the circumstances or experience. For example, if one sees only unloveliness in others, it is because unloveliness is a strong element in themselves. The light they throw on others is generated in their own soul, and they see them as they choose to see them. They hold constantly in their mind a mental equivalent of unloveliness and create unlovely reactions toward themselves. They are getting back what they send out. If a person believes themselves to be a failure and that it is useless for them to try to be anything else, they carry with them the mental equivalent of failure. So, they succeed in being a failure according to law. This is their demonstration. Having a strong picture or mental equivalent and holding to that equivalent regardless of circumstances or conditions, we must, sooner or later, manifest according to the concept. It follows then that the range of our possibilities at the present time does not extend far beyond the range of our present concepts. As we bring ourselves to a greater vision, we induce a greater concept and thereby demonstrate more in our experience. In this way, there is a continuous growth and unfoldment taking place. We do not expect to give a treatment today for prosperity and have $1 million tomorrow. But little by little, we can unfold our consciousness through the acquisition of greater and still greater mental equivalents until at last we shall be made free. The way to proceed is to begin right where you are. It is not scientific to attempt to begin somewhere else. One who understands the systematic use of the law will understand that they are where they are because of what they are. But they will not say, "I must remain where I am because of what I am." Instead, they will begin to disclaim what they appear to be. As their statements release wrong subjective tendencies, providing in their place a correct concept of life and reality, they will automatically be lifted out of their condition. Impelling forces sweeping everything before them will set them free if they trust in spirit and the working of the law. Stay with the one and never deviate from it. Never leave it for a moment. Nothing else can equal this attitude. To desert the truth in the hour of need is to prove that we do not know the truth. When things look the worst, that is the supreme moment to demonstrate to ourselves that there are no obstructions to the operation of truth. When things look the worst is the best time to work, the most satisfying time. The person who can throw themselves with a complete abandon into this limitless sea of receptivity, having cut loose from all apparent moorings, is the one who will always receive the greatest reward. Sorry about that. Uh, Too many buttons this morning. Um, it's an interesting thing, this operation of beliefs. And this philosophy really invites us to an experience of knowing something beyond the appearance of everything that counters that, right? Um, this idea that to know, to desert the truth in the hour of need is to prove that we do not know the truth. Um, this idea of being the thing we desire, no matter what's happening, and staying committed to that, staying focused on that, reminding ourselves that when it looks like the wheels are coming off, that that's not the truth of the situation. It might be the facts of the situation, right? It's that place where we're invited to be the presence of peace right in the storm of chaos, right? To If you've studied anything by Edwin Gaines, you know, to know that we are prosperous, to know that the essence of us is absolute abundance. We don't have two nickels to rub together, right? That's really what faith is about. And it's not, it can feel like this spiritual thing outside of us testing us. And I don't believe that's has any degree of truth whatsoever, um, because it just doesn't line up. For one, logically, it doesn't line up. Um, Everybody, we live in a physical realm where everybody's choosing and every law is answering yes to everybody, and there's complete free will, so everybody gets to choose, and sometimes all those choices collide and create chaos. Sometimes those choices collide in this human realm and result in human pain. Sometimes it results in damage to our planet Earth. Um, and spiritually, all of that is met with grace. And that's the part where I just honestly live in a state of amazement. It's what I aspire to that place where I truly have no judgments of others' choices. I'm not there yet. I'm not there. Um, I aspire to live in that place where no matter what is happening in this physical realm, I know in every cell of my being that life is unfolding perfectly, that love is absolutely present, that nothing has gone wrong. I don't always know that. Sometimes I forget. And that's why I have a daily spiritual practice. That's why I make this available for you to join me, because it helps me to remember. I'm going to do this daily practice no matter what. And sharing it with you makes it a little more real for me. I love what it says here. We do not expect to give a treatment today for prosperity and have $1 million tomorrow. Why is that? Well, because we have a lot of conditioned thinking that we have to get beyond. Spiritual mind treatment is exactly that. It's treating our spiritual mind, it's treating our thoughts, it's treating our beliefs. And there's a lot there to unravel, far more than our lifetime. Right? When we remember that there's one mind everywhere present, we're all using the same mind, that mind is equivalent to consciousness, is the eternality of life. So every thought that has ever been thunk, that ever will be thunk, is equally eternal. We are neutralizing all thought that is out of alignment with truth since the beginning of thinking. That's huge. That's going to take a minute, right? Um, as people are often said, I'm just going to need a minute with that, right? And if we will just let that be okay, hold it lightly, that, oh, I got a few things to unravel here. In my experiences, oftentimes we go down the road of resentment that I shouldn't have to unravel what other people thought. And recognize that when we do that, we're in separation, right? Because here's the thing, beloved, we're all unraveling this stuff you thought too. You're unraveling the stuff I thought, right? There's we're not victims, we're participants. And we're participants with the opportunity to heal. Because just like every thought, every hurtful thought hurts every aspect, every healing thought heals every aspect. So we just get to choose. Do we want to be part of the healing or part of the hurting? Today I choose healing. And I'm grateful to be a part of that. And I love this. If prayer has been answered, it is not because God has been moved to answer one prayer over another, but because one more than another has moved themselves into right relationship with spirit or the principle of being. We are what shifts. Our belief shifts. We bring ourselves into alignment. The only thing that we ever need to change, it's like, it's me, right? It's us. Because when I change me, everything about me changes. It's just that simple. And I'm going to stop there and just leave you with that little nugget. I invite you to know the Serenity Prayer as
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the thing I can, and the wisdom to know it's me, and to stay focused there. All right. So let's move into our time of meditation. And I will close this out with a spiritual mind treatment. Here we go. one power, one love, everywhere present, one substance, self-existent, that has always been, nameless, changeless, the visible and the invisible, the seen and the unseen, the heard and the unheard, the known and the unknown. Infinite possibility, simply desiring to express the expression of this one I call creation. I call it love. I call it life. I call it peace, power, presence. Sometimes I call it God. Sometimes I call it spirit. Sometimes the great mystery. By whatever name I call it, I recognize that it is each of those, all that they mean, and so much more. I recognize that this one is beyond the complete comprehension of my physical human brain. And yet, the essence of me, which is it expressing in the form of me, recognizes itself, sees itself everywhere it looks, hears itself speak in the wind and the rain and the people, hears itself in the song of the birds and in the buzz of the bees, recognizes itself in the silence of stillness. And what is true of me is true of every expression of creation. Each one, and on purpose, one of a kind, never to be repeated, desire of this infinite beingness to know and experience itself individualized as this and this and this, never separate from itself. And so I claim and affirm that my word is the word of the infinite, that my word is the earthly movement of divine consciousness, of substance into expression, that the desire within me to express is what I know as the will of God, the will of creation to simply be, prosperity prospering, abundance expressing, infinite intelligence knowing and sharing and being. And so I claim and affirm that I am the spiritual principle that I seek to express, that I am peace in the chaos, that I am calm in the storm, that I am reason in the unreasonable, that I am love in the midst of hate, that I am a healing presence everywhere I go. That within me is no longer a need to judge, but rather to know the truth within every situation. To refuse to see what's missing and to know what's present. To multiply, to energize what is. And I am grateful. I'm grateful for the responsive activity of the creative process, that responder that simply receives the impress of the desire to be, to express, and says yes. That lawful operation within the creative process that only knows yes, has already said yes, has already made the desires of my heart spoken this morning activated and already made them so. And so leaning into that place of belief, that place of the absolute knowing that the word spoken is the word fulfilled, I let go. Ah, sweet, sweet release. I release my word, which means I remove anything in its way. I let go of the doubt and fear. I let go of hesitation. I let go of all the what ifs, if only, and yes buts. I let them all go. Let them go. And I stand in the faith of knowing it is complete. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amen. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.